Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Jace Hiltenbeitel of Hartland Football. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. So I know this week has been, full of conditioning and working with Coach Ches and all that fun stuff. But what have you been up to? It's just how has this week kind of been? Not related to any football activities, getting ready for next week.
It's been good. I'm kind of mentally preparing myself. We got our what they call Hell Week coming up this next week. 5 hours of just buckle it down and get ready. 5 hours every day, Monday through Friday, just kind of buckling down and getting to work, making sure we're ready for the game against East Kentwood and just preparing ourselves.
It's mostly it's called two a days, and it's
2 days, yeah.
the week where I go to it's a fun week for me because I get to drive a bunch of miles and go see a bunch of camps. So that's how I'm excited for this next week because I know that we're ready to go. But heading into this year, that I know you're a corner. What's that like to be on defense and what have you kind of worked on this summer to get better at it?
So a lot of it has been coverage. Obviously, as a corner, a lot of it is coverage, but we have from last year on JV, we had a different coverage for man technique. So we have a different man technique coverage this year instead of last year. So a lot of that just kind of like trying to get the old like coverage out of my head, the old technique out of my head and kind of adapt to this new coverage that we have instead of, every single time it's been a mental rep just to try and get the old technique out of my head and bring in the new stuff and just making sure I can cover people. Obviously playing corner, I have to be able to cover somebody or else, it's not gonna end up well for me. So a lot of that's been that and just working on speed stuff, flipping my hips, just stuff like that, just corner stuff.
Yeah. So just like, how did you like get into football and all
So football, I didn't play football until seventh grade of middle school, and a lot of it was I played flag football. So I didn't tackle football wasn't until middle school. I played flag football for about 5 years before I actually played tackle football. And I guess it was just kind of like flip the switch where I was like, I don't want to play flag anymore. Let's actually go for the real deal. And so that's what got me into it. And it didn't start off great. First year wasn't it wasn't good because this was the first year with the pads on and everything getting it popping and all that. And it wasn't very good for me. But we learned, drove through it and all that, and it worked out pretty well. So it's getting me here today.
Yep. So going into, I know there's been a lot of change, and we've obviously talked about this because I've covered it so many times with different people. New coaching staff, you'll be playing on a new field, new athletic director, lots of changes happening, but obviously the expectation is still the same. Going after division titles, which could lead into playoff appearances, which could lead into the ultimate goal, which is a state championship. But what has it been like with getting used to everything because it's just basically brand new? What do you?
Yeah, for sure. So with the new head coach Stevenson, new athletic director, new stadium, all this new stuff, which I mean, I think it's really good for the community as not even just the team, but as a community as a whole. Everyone's getting more involved. I feel like this team is really close, and I think getting used to all this stuff is positive. It's positive for everyone, but obviously it takes everything new is going to take a lot more work for the whole team and all that stuff. So I think it's going to be really good. Instead of practicing on the grass field, we get to practice in the stadium, which I think is going to translate better onto the game, because we're going to be practicing on the stadium that we're going to be playing in. So I think it's all really positive change, and it's going to lead to good things for not even just us, but for the future programs and teams that come through here.
Yeah. So going into this season, what do you really think in these first few games, heading into these practices and getting ready for I know you have a scrimmage that following week. I believe it's against Brother Rice. And then going into, that first game against East Kent, what's that? What do you want to really see? Just I know there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be working on, but what are you wanting to see out of yourself? What do you want to really know about to kind of help the overall team picture? What do you need to see out of what do you want to see out of yourself heading into these next 2 weeks?
Well, obviously, the simple answer would be, no catches, nothing like that. But, you got to think. So, you're going to let up a catch every once in a while. And sometimes, even if your coverage is great, receivers are going to make plays. So it's kind of just like you gotta, as, Coach Hauk, our DB coach always says, you got to have a short-term memory. Something bad happens. You just gotta forget about it and, move on to the next play. And the best thing you can do for yourself is just forget about it and come back to it. And just, sometimes you can't help, but, just bad things happen. So it's kind of, just got to move on from it. And I'd like to see myself, not allow any touchdowns, something like that. Obviously, no catch would be amazing, but sometimes it just happens. So I'd like to see, not even just on myself, but as our defense, just not allow any touchdowns and, really keep people in place, keep the offenses down, and help us as much as we can to win games.
Outside of football, what are you like outside of sports? What are you? I know you've got a lot of big goals you want to accomplish, and I know that you want to. One of the just talk about some of the, like outside of football. What do you like to do?
What do I like to do outside of football? So I like to hang out with my friends, the kind of basic stuff. I like to play video games, I like to hop on the game every once in a while.
Okay,
Stuff like that. I have a pool, so I just kind of have some
nice.
guys over to swim in the pool, play basketball. I like to play basketball a little bit in my free time with some of my friends and go to 242 and we just play pickup with some of, whoever. Um, I like to, I hit the gym every once in a while after, obviously we lift for football a lot. So I kind of just, when we're not on this, like especially on this break, lifting a couple times just to make sure I'm not, falling out of shape, not doing, just sitting on my ass all day for this week that we have. And so, yeah, I just kind of I like to stay active when
Nice.
we're on our week. So,
Yeah. Um, last and then really just last thing before we go into something else. It's what's it going to be like entering that new stadium for the first time?
oh man, it's gonna be pretty emotional, I'd say at least. It's gonna be like a whole new take because we got a new scoreboard too. Like I mean, everything about that stadium besides the bleachers are new. I mean, the track is new, field's new scoreboard, all of it. It's gonna be pretty, I'd say, breathtaking at least. You're gonna walk in there, first day of practice, it's gonna be just taking it all in. It's it's gonna be pretty breathtaking, I'd say.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get to know you, Jace. How about that?
All right. All
All
right.
right. Well, of course, if you, I know you've watched a lot of these, so you probably know about the 10 burning questions. So let's get into it.
Okay.
How do you mentally prepare for a game?
Mentally prepare for a game. Okay. So last year, I wasn't on varsity last year. I was JV last year. So our games were, right after school or anything like that. So I like to, the staple, I feel like everyone does it. I like to listen to music. It kind of helps me mentally just, stay in, lock in, and keep myself like and so, before a game, I like kind of isolate myself a little bit before everyone comes together as a team. Like before the game, if we have any time, I just like to kind of isolate myself and just stay in my own box, I guess. And then once it's kind of time to warm up or whatever, then I kind of get out of my zone and then I kind of just get in with the team and break down the walls and just get in with everyone.
Yeah. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you at responding to text messages?
So I kind of feel like with my with people, if it's an urgent question, like if it's gotta be like, okay, now you gotta answer, or, if it's a now thing, I feel like I'm pretty on top of it. But sometimes with like my parents, I don't do it on purpose, but sometimes I'll like read them, and then I'll like have to do something that happens. So something will come up right then, and then I just completely forget about texting them back. So not even just my parents, just anybody. If they text me and then something happens like right there, and then I just forget about it. So overall, probably say like a 6 or a 7.
That's not bad. Yeah, it's like if someone texts me, I'm always on this thing. So it's you can just kind of like it's like, okay, I need to get back to this person and all that. So
Yeah.
um okay, so the village of Hartland, I believe it is a village. comes to you and says, "We would like you to pick a new restaurant in the town. So what do you pick?" I know Heartland's getting a lot of new ones. So
Me personally, I'm picking a Chick-fil-A all day. I love Chick-fil-A.
yeah,
I'm picking a Chick-fil-A every day of the week.
Chick-fil-A. Oh, we'll get to that later on. If we'll get to that later on. What is your pregame meal before game?
Pre-game meal. Okay, so the night before, my dad always makes it just like some spaghetti, just pasta stuff, just kind of that's what I do the night before. Um, Meal game before this because usually, like I said, JV, we didn't have time to like go home or anything. We didn't even have time to leave. We last year they always had Jimmy John's, like just some subs, and so I always ate one of those before the game. This year, I guess we're gonna have to venture out and because we have some time before the game, so I'll have to venture out and see what I'm feeling this year, and then we'll go from there.
Apparently, the Heartland football team invaded Trop last year, so that maybe that trend will continue. So
I do like some tropical smoothie. I don't mind that.
they were all at Tropical Smoothie last year. I know some went to Arby's. If you watched past episodes of this podcast last
I
year.
watched Nevin's. I remember Nevin told me about it. Nevin was saying he likes tropical smoothie before
Yeah, everybody likes
games.
Tropical Smoothie apparently for Heartland football. What do you do to make you feel? What do you do to make yourself feel better if you are having a bad day?
Having a bad day, I feel myself better. Yeah, another one, music. Music, I love listening to music. I always have music on, and it's always I'm a big music guy. So something music. Usually if I eat food too, eating food helps me feel better about myself. So eating food, listening to music. I like to hang out with my family. It's my closer friends. And I like to hang out with them too, and it kind of most of the time that gets me past the hump. But
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, food always makes everything better, right?
yeah, I couldn't agree with that one more.
Okay. How much do you remember about past seasons of football or any other sport?
Okay, past seasons of football. I can remember pretty good. Like I said, I've only played in middle school with my first season, seventh grade. Seventh grade is my first season. So I probably can't remember my first season, but I think I can remember eighth grade year was about as far back as I can remember. I can remember JV and freshman pretty distinctively.
Okay. Um, if you got to pick one social media app to use and delete the rest, what would it be?
Ooh, you got me thinking on this one. I like YouTube. I don't know if that's my pick. Instagram, I like Instagram too.
You have to pick just one, bud.
I Um, options. This is a hard one. I probably do Instagram. Instagram's got me a lot of stuff that I can use. Instagram Reels are always has some good stuff on there. I can follow up with my sports stuff. I can still like talk to my friends and all that. So I'd say Instagram probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay. Probably the most I know this question was coming and you knew this one was coming. The most controversial question on this list. Rank your top five fast food restaurants.
Yeah, well, I knew this was coming. Okay, so number one has got to be Chick-fil-A. I feel like I've established that. I'm trying to run through my options right now.
Now they have to be 1 through 5, like in order.
Okay, okay. I gotta run through I gotta run through my options here.
Now, here are the while you do that, here are the options. So you're to get your normal fast food restaurants, like your McDonald's, your Burger Kings, and Wendy's, and all that. Then you have your premium fast food options, like what you just mentioned, Chick-fil-A. Then you got Qdoba, Chipotle, Five Guys. Restaurants count too, so you can throw in like Buffalo Wild Wings, you can throw in Leo's, you can throw in really anything.
Okay, all right, got that. I've never actually had Chipotle or um, what's that Qdoba or
Qdoba.
Qdoba? I've never had Chipotle or Qdoba in my entire life. So
Well, there's a Chipotle coming to Hartland apparently.
yeah, I don't know if I don't even know if I'll have it after that, but I've never had it. So Chick-fil-A one, Culver's. I feel like Culver's probably two. I like me some Culver's.
Yeah.
Um, three, trying to think of probably like a sandwich. I like Jersey Mike's if we're counting that. I like
Yeah,
Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's does count. That
Okay, yeah,
premium
I'll
fast food category.
okay, I'll put that at three.
Jersey Mike's is
And
good.
then I like the Philly cheesesteak, that kind of the Philly
Oh,
cheesesteak.
that is good.
I love Philly cheesesteaks. They're so good.
Yeah, I gotta go to Jersey Mike's tomorrow.
I love it. It's so good. And then I kind of like Wendy's too. I'd probably put Wendy's at four. And then at five, the five spot. I'm trying to narrow my options down right now. I don't mind McDonald's only it's only good like at certain times. Like I can't eat McDonald's like I eat Chick-fil-A. It's only good at like certain times. So might slide into five, but yeah, I'll put McDonald's at five, you know.
Okay.
It's not my favorite, but
Okay.
it's good. It's good at good times.
All right. Okay. I bet you knew this was coming too. What is a song that you know every word to without looking?
Oh man. There's a lot of, like I said, I'm a big music guy, so I feel like there's a couple songs that
So
I
name
could.
a song that like you know every word to without looking.
So I'd say back a couple years ago, uh, "My House" by Flo Rida. I used to listen to that song so much. I don't listen to it as much now, but even now, I feel like I could still sing that song word for word.
That feels like a song that everybody knows. So it's
Yeah,
like there's like a catchy song like every year that you know, and then it kind of jumps from there. So
yeah. I haven't, like I
um,
said, I haven't listened to it in a while, but
yeah.
I feel like I could still word for word that song, no problem.
Okay. Final question is if you could say something to your younger self, something you know now but didn't know then, what would it be?
Oh man, especially my younger self in middle school, because middle school I was like, this is not my thing. I don't want to do this anymore. I just don't be like, man, it's hard right now, but it gets so much better. You gotta stick through it and just tough it out. It gets so much better in the later years.
Yeah.
You just gotta suck it up. You just gotta suck it up.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jace, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck this season. We'll definitely have
Yeah,
you
of
on again
course.
sometime.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.